I think Shorts Wars was a perfect idea. A group of content creators banding together to stop a masked villain from hijacking their channels and replacing them all with clones as a commentary on all the YouTube channels who steal their content. And Clone Riggy was the perfect second in command, until a certain stick figure ruined him for the rest of us! I won't be too focused on recapping the plot of all of Shorts Wars. MadPat made a game theory episode about Season 1, so feel free to check that out if you want to learn more about the story overall. Now I know that a serious analysis of a cartoon Rabbit Monkey's clone may sound ridiculous, and you're right, but it's not as ridiculous as the comment section under my Acolyte video. All I said was I liked soul and lightsabers! Clone Riggy came to be in Season 1. He was a part of the original set of clones that hijacked the channels for the boss. His portrayal was perfect, no notes. His electronic voice, his teleporting, every line being spoken with such a conviction and hatred for the real Riggy, it all added up to a menacing threat for the creators. Not to mention his undying loyalty to the boss is what saved his life at the end of Season 1 when his facility exploded. However, Season 2 happened. Season 2 was a promising start for Clone Riggy, who renamed himself Preston. He had learned from his mistakes since his last fight with Riggy and was quick to take him out. And then he got stabbed by Rosie, Riggy's girlfriend, again. And again. I know this was supposed to be a joke, but writers need to keep an eye out for which jokes undermine their characters and how their audience perceives them. Speaking of jokes, Season 3 Preston was one! He had to hide in witness protection under the name Dave and spent all of Riggy's money on cheese puffs, causing him to have a second duel. He wasn't even a villain by this point despite still working for the boss. I want to take this time to talk about two other villains, Voltux and the Golden Guard. Voltux is one of my OCs and a major villain in the show Space Force I've been writing. My plan is to build him up. He'll start off as a villain of the week. He'll show up, make a few jokes, lose, and leave. But as the show goes on, he's going to get more threatening. He is going to get more chaotic, more dangerous, more evil, until the heroes face off against him in the series finale. Voltux will have the exact opposite arc of Hunter from the Owl House, otherwise known as the Golden Guard. Hunter started out as a menacing threat, serving as the right-hand man to Emperor Bellows. The first thing we saw him do was kidnap King and force Luce and Ida into a dangerous cave to save him. As the show went on, we learned he was a victim of abuse and manipulation all his life, and only through the kindness of others did he leave the Emperor's covenant and help in Bellows' final defeat. Preston tries to have it both ways. He wants to be a redeemed villain but never bails on the boss, and even then his final actions are not his own. The twist revealed at the end of Season 3 of Shorts Wars is that Preston is actually possessed by the soul of Dr. Francis David, the true mastermind behind everything and the original designer of the cloning machine. He hijacked Clone Riggy's body, killed the boss, and initiated one last anime battle with all the creators. It was a well-done fight, don't get me wrong, but we're here demanding justice for Preston. David taking control was the end for Preston, and the final post-credit scene confirms it. However, him finally snapping as David took control wasn't the gut punch it should have been. All through the trial, he had been munching on cheese puffs and letting the boss pin everything on him. What if, instead of acting like a goofball starting in Season 2, he actually became more erratic, more dangerous as David started vying for control of his body? That way, listening to the boss blame the entire operation on Preston despite his undying loyalty for so long would be the final straw. What if after the acquittal he finally snapped? He still kills the boss and tries to start killing the other creators when David uses that anger to turn Preston into Preston Prime and kill him once and for all. It would have been a more poetic ending to have Preston's hatred for Riggy and the other creators along with his loyalty to the boss be the thing that finally did him in. So why do I say he was ruined by the internet? Shorts Wars being an ARG means it was closer to feedback than a network television series or a movie. Therefore, they are closer to the theorists. Not just MatPat, but smaller theorists like Dacha. Dacha was a creator who managed to grow exponentially by theorizing off of Shorts Wars in Riggy's upcoming series Toon Turf. I'm glad they could expand. I'm trying to expand too. We all just want to make it on YouTube. But, in their theories, usually in the shorts content, they just kept saying how much they wanted to dropkick Clone Riggy, and it worked.
This one's for Dacia!
I'm sure Dana Terrace loves her fans, but if one fan hated Gus and kept asking for him to fall off a cliff, would Dana write it? No, because writers don't take requests, we take notes. I don't like this character, can you please punish him on my behalf is not a note to make the story better, it's a fanfic. Again, not an attack on Dacha. Frankly, it must have been surprising to them that their creators actually listened to their request. However, listening to a loud minority won't make a better character. I cannot confirm that Dacha and the others hating on Clone Riggy is what caused the character's decline into a goofball. However, it is the most direct line visible to the average audience member. Overall, Shorts Wars was still a good story. Season 1 was the best and most concise. Clone Riggy was the best character and one of my favorite villains of all time. However, some poor writing decisions reduced him to comic relief and then unceremoniously killed him off. Rest in peace, Clone Riggy. And that's our show, folks. Have a good night.